When Emma first called me her starter husband, I laughed. It was during a dinner with friends, a harmless joke that drew chuckles around the table. I laughed the loudest because I believed we were untouchable. Back then, our love felt real, solid, something that could withstand anything. We met in college, two broke dreamers chasing a future that felt bigger than us. She had this spark, a confidence that drew me in. We built everything from nothing. Our first apartment was small and noisy, but we filled it with warmth. Nights spent on the couch, eating instant noodles, talking about who we wanted to become. Life wasn't perfect, but we were partners, fighting the world together. I still remember how she used to wait up for me when I worked late. She'd sit on the floor, wrapped in a blanket, smiling as I walked through the door. That smile made the stress fade. I thought we were building forever. But love, I've learned, doesn't end in explosions. It fades in quiet moments, in small changes you don't notice until it's too late. The night she made that starter husband joke, I saw a flash in her eyes, something I couldn't name then. A mix of amusement and distance. I brushed it off, convinced I was imagining it. I told myself we were still us, that she still looked at me the way she used to. But as I sat across from her that night, hearing everyone laugh, I caught myself wondering, what if she meant it? What if I was just the beginning of her story, not the middle, not the end? I shook off the thought, smiled, and reached for her hand. She smiled back, but something in her touch felt temporary. Time has a way of softening the edges of love until you barely recognize its shape. A few years into our marriage, the laughter faded into polite silence. We were still together, but the closeness was gone, replaced by routines and empty conversations. I told myself it was normal, that every couple goes through this phase. But deep down, I knew something was changing. Emma had started a new job. She came home later than usual, smelling of a perfume I didn't recognize. She said it helped her feel confident at work. I wanted to believe that. I wanted to believe her. She started mentioning a coworker named Ryan casually at first, like it meant nothing. "Ryan's hilarious," she'd say, or "Ryan helped me with a project." I told myself not to overthink it. Jealousy, after all, was a sign of weakness. But soon, she stopped mentioning me in her stories. It was always we, her, and Ryan, not her and me. I tried to ignore the growing ache in my chest. She stopped waiting for me to come home. The coffee she used to make every morning was now just one cup hers. One night, she said she was staying late at work for a team dinner. When she came home, her hair was messy and her smile looked forced. She went straight to bed. The next morning, I saw a message flash across her phone. "Last night was worth it, red heart." I stood there frozen. My heart didn't break all at once. It cracked quietly, like glass under pressure. I didn't confront her. I couldn't. Instead, I convinced myself there had to be an explanation. That message couldn't mean what I thought it did. But deep down, I already knew. Love doesn't lie, people do. I told myself I needed proof, something undeniable before I shattered the world we built. One Friday, I decided to surprise her with dinner. She'd mentioned working late again, so I picked up her favorite takeout and drove to her office. Her car wasn't there. My stomach tightened. I called her, and she said she was still finishing up paperwork. I could hear laughter in the background, not the office kind, but the kind that happens when people forget they're being watched. I hung up and followed the sound I couldn't explain. A few blocks away, I saw her car parked outside a small restaurant, dim lights glowing inside. Through the window, I saw her. She wasn't alone. She was sitting across from Ryan, smiling the way she used to smile at me. It wasn't forced or distant, it was effortless, alive. I should have been angry, but instead I felt hollow. Watching her laugh, I realized I wasn't in her story anymore. I was just a memory sitting in the corner of her mind, collecting dust. I didn't go inside. I stood there long enough to understand that some things, once broken, can't be fixed. That night, when she came home, I asked quietly, "Do you love him?" She froze, eyes wide, searching for a lie she could live with. "I don't know," she said, and somehow that hurt more than any confession could. I nodded, not because I forgave her, but because I understood. You can't force someone to stay in a love they've already left. I told her, maybe you were right all along. Maybe I really was your starter husband. She cried, but I didn't. My tears had already fallen silently in a parking lot, watching the woman I loved become a stranger. After she left, the apartment felt too quiet, like the air itself had given up trying to fill the empty space she used to occupy. At first, I moved through each day on autopilot: work, home, sleep, repeat. Everything reminded me of her: the dent on her side of the couch, the faint scent of her shampoo, the unread book she left on the nightstand. I thought healing would come with time, but time only gives you distance, not peace. Peace has to be chosen, one painful thought at a time. Weeks turned into months. I stopped checking her social media, stopped replaying the what-ifs. I started taking long walks again, reading, cooking meals for one. The silence that once hurt became a kind of comfort. I began to see how much of myself I had lost trying to hold on to something already gone. I realized love isn't always about staying. Sometimes it's about having the courage to walk away with grace. She found what she was missing, and though it wasn't with me, I couldn't hate her for it anymore. One morning, I saw her by chance at a cafe. She was with him, laughing. For a moment, our eyes met. There was no anger, no longing, just understanding. I smiled, and so did she. That was the moment I knew I was free. Now, when I think about that old joke, starter husband, it doesn't sting. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was her beginning, the person she needed to find the version of herself she became. And maybe she was mine too, the one who taught me that endings aren't failures. They're just new beginnings disguised as heartbreak.